The trip had been planned for weeks, our first real getaway. Just me and my friends leaving behind the noise, the deadlines, the pressure of everyday life. They'd left early that morning, full of excitement, but I was running late, like always. My bag was half packed, my keys were missing, and by the time I finally got into the car, the sun was already rising higher than it should have been. They kept calling me as I drove, asking where I was, teasing me for oversleeping, insisting I'd better hurry before they ate all the food without me. I kept saying, I'm almost there, even though I was nowhere close. Eventually, I silenced the phone. I just needed to breathe for a moment. A few kilometers outside the city, I spotted a narrow road branching off from the main highway. A shortcut. At least, that's what it looked like. The pavement was cracked, the trees leaned inward like they were trying to hide it, and I could tell right away that not many drivers used it. Still, I was late, and the idea of making up lost time tugged at me. So I turned the wheel and took my chances. The deeper I went, the quieter everything became. No cars, no houses. Only the sound of gravel under my tires and the occasional flutter of birds hiding in the branches. For a moment, it felt peaceful, like I'd slipped into a forgotten corner of the world. Then, I saw something ahead on the road. At first, I thought it might be trash or debris. But as I got closer, I hit the brakes hard enough that my bag flew forward and hit the dashboard. My stomach dropped. Right there, lying in the middle of the dusty road, were tiny bodies, fragile, limp, and frighteningly still. I jumped out of the car so fast I nearly twisted my ankle. The air felt heavier, colder, like the world itself was holding its breath. I knelt down on the ground, afraid of what I was about to discover. Hey, little ones," I whispered. No reaction. Their eyes were closed tight. They barely moved. Their small chests rose and fell with such weak, uneven breaths that I had to lean in just to be sure they were alive at all. They weren't injured. They weren't sick. They were simply empty, exhausted, starving, dehydrated, abandoned. Something inside me twisted painfully. "Who could do this?" I said under my breath. "How can anyone just leave them out here?" The sun was bright, but they felt cold to the touch. Too cold. My heart started racing. My friends kept calling, but I didn't dare look away long enough to check my phone. Nothing else mattered. My gym bag was still in the back seat, and inside it, I had my towel. I ran back to the car, tore it out, and returned to them. Carefully, terrified I might hurt them, I wrapped each tiny body in the soft fabric. Even through the towel, I could feel how weak they were. I held them close. "Stay with me," I murmured. "Please." I looked up and saw a house in the distance. Small, old, isolated, the only sign of life anywhere near this forgotten road. Without wasting a second, I got back into the car, placed the towel with the kittens gently on the passenger seat, and turned the engine. Just as I began driving, one of them let out the faintest, trembling cry. The sound broke something inside me, but it also pushed me to drive faster. Whatever happened next, I knew none of them could afford another minute alone out there. I left the cats where I found them, carefully, gently, resting under the thin shade of a crooked tree. I didn't dare move them yet. Their bodies were too weak, their breathing too shallow. I was terrified that even lifting them might do more harm than good. So I did the only thing I could think of. I got back into my car and drove straight toward the lonely house at the end of the road. The closer I came, the stranger the scene felt. It was the kind of house you'd pass 1,000 times without noticing. Weathered wood, faded paint, shutters hanging slightly off balance. But smoke rose from the chimney, curling into the quiet air. Someone was home. I parked crookedly in the dirt, slammed the door, and ran to the porch. My hand shook as I knocked. "Please, someone open up!" For a moment, only silence answered. Then the door creaked open. An elderly man appeared. Tall and thin, his shoulders slightly bent but his eyes sharp and aware. He looked at me like he was trying to read my entire life in one glance. "What's wrong?" he asked. I swallowed hard, breath unsteady. "There are cats on the old dirt road. They're lying there, barely conscious. I don't know what happened, but they're in terrible condition. They won't survive long." The man didn't blink, didn't hesitate, didn't question me. Instead, he stepped out of the doorway, wiping his hands on his worn work pants. "Come," he said, "we'll take my truck." He didn't even close the door behind him. He moved with unexpected purpose, heading straight toward an old truck parked beneath a leaning oak tree. Its paint was faded, its frame dented, but the engine looked solid. Behind it was a flatbed trailer, small but sturdy. "Get in," the old man ordered as he climbed into the driver's seat. I obeyed immediately. The truck roared to life, vibrating so hard the mirrors shook. Gravel sprayed behind us as he turned it around and sped down the narrow road faster than I imagined an old vehicle could go. "How far?" he asked, eyes fixed ahead. "Just around the bend, near the hillside. I left them in the shade." He gave a single nod, nothing more. As we neared the spot, my chest tightened. I jumped out before the truck had fully stopped and ran to the tree. The old man followed quickly, stepping down from the truck with surprising speed. There they were, exactly where I left them. Not moving, not crying, just there. My breath caught. "Please," I whispered as I knelt beside them. The old man knelt too. Unlike me, he didn't panic. He placed a steady hand near one of the small bodies and waited. A moment passed. Then he nodded. "They're alive," he said softly. "Weak, but alive." Relief hit me so hard I almost fell backward. He straightened, walked to the trailer, lowered the ramp, and motioned for me to follow. He said, "We have to get them to the clinic in the village. They need help fast." We worked together, carefully, gently, lifting the fragile bodies wrapped in my towel. The old man guided me into the trailer. "You sit with them," he said firmly. "Your warmth will help until we reach the vet." I nodded, holding the towel close to my chest as he climbed into the driver's seat again. The truck lurched forward, the trailer shook, wind rushed around me as the dirt road sped beneath us. I held the cats close, whispering through the noise, "Stay with me, please." The old man called out from the front, "Hold on back there!" And with the engine growling and the road bumping beneath us, we raced toward the only chance those fragile, silent creatures had left. The old man drove like someone who had spent a lifetime on those roads. Fearless, precise, and fast. The trailer jolted violently every time the truck hit a rut, but I held the cats close, shielding them with my arms. "Hang on, we're almost there," I whispered, though I had no idea if they could even hear me. The village appeared slowly over the hill. It looked peaceful. Small houses, narrow streets, laundry hanging on balconies. Nothing about the place hinted at the urgency in my chest. But for me, every second felt like it could tip into tragedy. The clinic wasn't hard to find. A modest building with a blue sign, half faded. The old man parked right at the entrance, barely turning off the engine before jumping out. "Bring them inside," he called. I stepped off the trailer with trembling hands, still clutching the towel. The old man grabbed the door and held it open for me. The smell of disinfectant hit the moment we entered, and in the back, I saw two veterinarians look up, startled at the sight of us. Before they could ask anything, the old man's voice filled the room. "They need immediate care." That was all it took. The vets rushed over, guiding me toward a metal examination table. I laid the cats down reluctantly, feeling their tiny chests rise and fall so faintly it scared me all over again. One vet checked their breathing, the other prepared fluids and nutritional supplements. "What happened to them?" the younger vet asked. "I don't know," I said, voice breaking. "I found them lying near the hillside. They weren't moving. They're starving. I think they've gone days without food."
The vet nodded, sadly, knowingly. "It's more common than you think," she said softly. "But they're alive. That's what matters." The old man stood beside me, silent, steady, like a pillar keeping me from collapsing. Minutes felt like hours as I watched the vets work. They cleaned them, checked their temperatures, administered fluids, gave them nourishing paste, wrapped them in warm compresses. At one point, I had to look away, overcome with emotion. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the older vet stepped back and exhaled. They are exhausted, but they're responding. They just need rest, warmth, and food for the next few days. My heart sank slightly. "So they're going to live?" She gave me a small smile. "If nothing worsens overnight, yes, they have a fighting chance." I didn't realize I was crying until I felt the warmth running down my face. The old man placed a hand on my shoulder. It was firm, comforting, grounding. "You did good coming to my door," he said. "Most people wouldn't have bothered." I swallowed hard. I couldn't leave them. I just couldn't. The vet asked, "Do they belong to anyone?" I shook my head. "They belong to whoever's willing to care for them now." The old man raised his hand. "I'll take them," he said calmly. "I've got the space and the time, and no one else around here bothers with creatures like these." For a second, the room fell silent. I looked at him, this stranger who hadn't even hesitated to help me. His eyes weren't emotional, but they carried something even stronger: responsibility, compassion of the simplest, most honest kind. "I can help," I said quickly. "Every month, I can send money for food, vet bills, anything you need." The old man didn't refuse. He just nodded once. "Then we'll raise them together, in our own way." And in that tiny clinic, in a quiet village far from everything I knew, something changed inside me, permanently. I wasn't the same person who had driven down a shortcut road an hour earlier. I had seen how fragile life was, how cruel people could be, but also how unexpectedly kind a stranger could become.
After ensuring the cats were settled with the old man, I stayed a while longer, helping him make sure each of them had a safe spot on the soft blankets he'd prepared in the trailer. He moved carefully around them, checking their tiny bodies, whispering instructions to me about feeding schedules and warmth. I watched in awe as he handled them with such calm authority, as if he had done this countless times before. Once everything was arranged, I climbed back into my car. I looked at the dirt road that had led me here, the road that had seemed so ordinary at first, but now held so much weight. The memory of their frail bodies lying helplessly in the dust, the terror in their tiny movements, and the fear that I could have been too late all rushed back. Driving back to meet my friends, my mind was buzzing with everything that had happened. When I finally caught up to them, laughing and joking, it was hard to focus on their carefree chatter. I couldn't tell them everything. They wouldn't have understood the urgency, the panic, the helplessness I'd felt. But I could share the outcome. I told them about the old man, the clinic, and the cats now safe and recovering. Their initial surprise turned into admiration, but I could see it didn't quite capture the depth of the moment for me. That night, lying awake in my own bed, I thought about those cats again. How close they had come to being lost forever. How fragile life could be, and yet how resilient, given the slightest help and kindness. I realized that the small choices we make, stopping to check, taking a side road, asking for help, can change lives in ways we might never fully understand. The old man and I stayed in contact. Every month I sent money to cover the cat's food, medicine, and other necessities. Sometimes I visited, bringing treats and toys. Over time, I watched them regain strength and confidence. They began exploring the yard and chasing the wind, sleeping in sunbeams. Watching them flourish brought a deep sense of peace to me. I never learned exactly why the cats had been left on that road, why someone had abandoned them in such a dire state. But over time, I realized that it didn't matter as much as I had once thought. What mattered was that someone acted, that someone cared enough to save them when their world seemed lost. From that day forward, I carried a lesson in my heart. The world can be cruel and careless, but there are still people who will step forward, who will act when others do not. And sometimes, those small actions, reaching out to help creatures we do not even know, are the most powerful acts of courage there are. Whenever I think of that road, I no longer feel the panic or despair I felt the first time. I feel hope, I feel responsibility, and I feel a quiet joy knowing that lives once on the edge of ending are now thriving because someone decided to care. If there's a message I could leave anyone who reads or hears this story, it's this: never underestimate the power of stepping in, even when it feels impossible. Compassion is a choice, and sometimes it is the only thing standing between life and death.